A quiet garage in the rain. A boring business bedtime story. Welcome to this quiet place, this gentle space at the edge of sleep. There is nothing you need to do right now, nothing you need to remember, nothing you need to solve or fix or figure out. You have found your way here to this soft corner of the evening, and that is enough. That is more than enough. Let yourself settle. Feel the surface beneath you, whatever it is, a bed, a pillow, a familiar place where your body knows it can rest. Notice how it holds you without effort, how it has been holding you this whole time patient and steady, asking nothing in return. Your weight can sink a little deeper now. Your muscles can begin to remember that they don't have to work so hard anymore. Not right now, not tonight. And so we begin gently with breath. Take a slow breath in through your nose if that feels comfortable, letting your chest and belly rise naturally without force, without hurry. There is no perfect way to do this. Just air moving in. And then let it go slowly through your mouth or your nose, whatever feels easiest, letting your shoulders drop just a little as the breath leaves. That's it. That's all. Let's do that again. A slow breath in, filling gently like water rising in a quiet glass. And then out soft and long, like a sigh you've been saving all day. Your jaw can soften now. Your tongue can rest behind your teeth. Your eyes can close if they haven't already, or they can stay half open, unfocused, watching nothing in particular. One more breath if you like, in slow and easy. And out, letting everything settle, letting your hands go loose wherever they are, your fingers uncurling, your palms open and still. You don't have to hold on to anything tonight. The story will do the holding for you. It will carry you gently wherever you need to go. And as you rest here, you might notice your blanket feels a little heavier now, a little warmer, pressing softly against your body like a kind hand. Your pillow cradles your head, supporting the weight of all your thoughts, all your wondering, so you don't have to carry them yourself. Your eyelids can rest heavy and comfortable, like curtains drawn against a quiet night. It's okay if you drift. It's okay if the words begin to blur and blend together, if you lose track of sentences or forget what came before. The story doesn't need you to follow every word. It will be here steady and soft, continuing, whether you hear it or not. You can let go, you can let yourself float. Now let us travel somewhere together. Let us travel back through time. Back through years that have folded into other years. Back to a place that was once small and new and uncertain. We are going to a city by the water. A city where rain falls often and softly, where the sky is frequently gray in that gentle way that makes everything feel quiet and inward turned. Seattle. Imagine Seattle in the middle of the 1990s. The world was a little smaller then, or perhaps it only felt that way. The internet was young, a strange and flickering thing that most people didn't quite understand yet. Computers were bulky and slow. Phones were attached to walls or sat heavy in hands. When you wanted to buy something, you drove to a store or called a number from a catalog, and then you waited. Waiting was normal. Waiting was how things worked. In this city, in a suburb just east of downtown, where the streets were lined with quiet houses and tall evergreen trees, there was a garage. Just a garage. It was attached to a modest house, the kind of house that didn't call attention to itself, with a sloped roof and a front yard, and neighbors on either side who kept to their own rhythms. The garage had a single door that faced the street and a side door that led into the house. Inside there was a concrete floor, cool and slightly dusty, and walls that had probably once held rakes and bicycles and boxes of holiday decorations. But now the garage held something else. There was a folding table, the kind with metal legs that clicked into place, and on this table sat a computer. It was a simple computer, cream-colored and boxy, with a monitor that glowed a soft bluish white. The keyboard made a gentle clicking sound. When someone typed on it, a sound like rain on a distant window, steady and rhythmic. Around the table there were books. So many books. They were stacked in careful piles, some tall and some short, their spines facing different directions. Paperbacks and hardcovers, new books and older books, books about science and history and fiction and cooking and travel. They smelled the way books smell when they are gathered together in one place, that particular scent of paper and ink and glue, faintly sweet, faintly dusty, deeply comforting. There were cardboard boxes, too flattened and leaning against one wall, waiting to be folded into shape. There were rolls of packing tape, brown and shiny, and a tape dispenser that made a satisfying ripping sound when tape was pulled across its teeth. There were labels and markers and a scale for weighing packages. Everything was simple. Everything was quiet. Everything was waiting to be used. Outside, the rain was falling. You could hear it on the roof, a soft and constant pattering, like fingertips drumming gently on a table. It was the kind of rain that Seattle knows so well, not heavy or dramatic, but persistent, patient. The kind of rain that settles in for hours and makes the world feel wrapped in gray cotton. The air near the garage door was cool and damp, carrying the smell of wet pavement and cedar trees. But near the lamp on the folding table, near the glowing computer screen, there was warmth, a small circle of warmth in the cool evening. This is our anchor place. This is where we will return again and again throughout this story. Whenever you need to feel grounded, whenever the details become too much or too little, you can come back here. To this garage, to this rain, to this lamp and this table and these stacks of patient books. Let yourself be here now. There was a man in this garage. He was not remarkable to look at, not in any way that would make you notice him on the street. He had dark hair that was starting to thin a little, and he laughed easily, a bright and sudden laugh that seemed too big for his quiet surroundings. But most of the time here in the garage he was not laughing. He was thinking, he was typing, he was carefully lifting books from one pile and placing them in another. He had come from far away, in a sense. He had worked in the tall buildings of a big city in offices where people moved quickly and spoke in numbers and wore suits that all looked the same. He had been good at that work, the kind of good that gets noticed, the kind that leads to more responsibility and more money and more of everything that is supposed to matter. But something had been pulling at him gently, persistently, like a thread being tugged from a sweater. An idea, a question. He had noticed something about the world, something small and quiet that most people were ignoring. The internet was growing, not in the way that storms grow sudden and visible, but in the way that plants grow slowly, invisibly, one tiny change after another, until one day you look and everything is different. He had seen numbers, charts, projections. He had done the math in his careful, methodical way. And the numbers had told him something that made his heart beat a little faster. This new thing, this network of connected computers, was going to change how people lived, how they worked, how they bought things. And so he had left. He had left the tall buildings and the suits and the numbers that meant money, and he had driven across the country, with his wife taking turns at the wheel, watching the landscape change from one kind of beautiful to another. She had driven while he typed on a laptop, the screen glowing in the passenger seat, his fingers moving steadily over the keys as the miles scrolled by outside the window. He was writing a plan, he was building something in his mind before it existed anywhere else. They had settled here in this house, in this suburb, in this garage, where the rain tapped gently on the roof. And now, night after night, he sat at the folding table with his simple computer, thinking about books. Why books, you might wonder? Books are heavy. Books are bulky. Books are so specific. One person wants this title, while another wants that one, and no store can hold them all. Not every book that has ever been written. But that was exactly the point. That was exactly what made them interesting. A store made of computer code. A store that existed only in the humming wires of the internet. Didn't have walls. It didn't have shelves that could only hold so many things. It could list every book. Every single one. And someone in a small town, far from any bookstore, someone who had been searching for a title for years, could finally find it, could finally hold it in their hands. It's okay if your thoughts are drifting now. It's okay if the idea feels vague, like something seen through fog. You don't need to understand every detail. The feeling is enough. The quiet garage, the stacks of books, the man with his simple computer, and his careful lists. That is enough. Your body is heavy and warm. Your breath is slow and even. Somewhere in a garage outside Seattle, in the soft gray light of a rainy evening, an idea is taking shape. A way to connect people to the books they are looking for. A way to send packages across distances, one careful shipment at a time. It doesn't have a name yet, not the name you might know. It is just an idea, fragile and new, blinking like a cursor on a quiet screen. And the rain keeps falling, and the lamp keeps glowing. And somewhere a roll of tape waits to seal the very first box. Rest here for a moment. Let the image settle like sediment in still water. The garage, the books, the rain, the cool air near the door, and the warmth near the lamp, the soft clicking of keys, and the papery smell of possibility. We will continue gently when you are ready. Or you can drift away now, carried by the sound of rain, and let the story find you later in whatever form it takes. There is no wrong way to listen. There is no wrong way to rest. The night is long and soft and full of quiet things. And this is only the beginning. The man's name was Jeff. It is a simple name, a common name, the kind of name that belongs to neighbors and uncles and people you might meet in line at the grocery store. And in many ways, he was a simple person, or at least he preferred simple things, clear answers, logical steps, problems that could be broken down into smaller problems and solved one piece at a time. He had been this way for as long as he could remember. As a child growing up in different places, as his family moved from here to there, he had always been the one who wanted to know how things worked. Not just what they did, but why they did it. What was happening inside? What rules governed the turning of gears and the flow of electricity and the patterns of numbers on a page? He took things apart. Radios clocked small machines that his parents probably wished he had left alone. He didn't always get them back together again. Not at first, but he learned. He always learned. There was a quietness to this kind of curiosity. It wasn't the loud curiosity of someone who asks 100 questions out loud, demanding answers, impatient for the next discovery. It was more like the curiosity of water finding its way downhill, patient and persistent, following the path of least resistance until it reached wherever it was going. He would sit with a problem for hours, turning it over in his mind, trying one approach and then another, feeling that calm satisfaction when the pieces finally clicked into place. You might know this feeling yourself, the small pleasure of figuring something out, the quiet rightness when an answer reveals itself. It doesn't have to be a big answer, a world-changing answer. It could be something as small as understanding why a door sticks, or how to fold a fitted sheet, or the best way to arrange books on a shelf so they don't topple over. These little puzzles, these tiny victories, they add up. They become a way of moving through the world. Let your mind rest on this for a moment. You don't have to think too hard. Just notice how it feels, the idea of someone who finds peace in solving small problems. Let it settle somewhere soft in your thoughts. Let it become part of the landscape you're drifting through. As the years passed, as Jeff grew from a curious child into a curious young man, he found himself drawn to numbers. Numbers made sense to him. They followed rules. They didn't lie or change their minds or become something different depending on who was looking at them. A number was a number, clear and honest, and when you put numbers together in the right way, they could tell you things about the world that you couldn't see any other way. He studied. He worked hard in that steady way that doesn't look dramatic from the outside, but accumulates quietly, like snow falling through a long winter night. He went to good schools and learned complicated things, and eventually found himself in tall buildings in a big city, surrounded by people who also loved numbers, who spent their days watching screens full of figures and making decisions based on what those figures said. This was the world of finance. It is not a world we need to spend much time in tonight. It was a world of suits and schedules, of early mornings and late nights of competition and ambition, and the particular kind of tiredness that comes from working very hard at something that pays well but doesn't quite fit. Jeff was good at it. He was very good at it. He rose through the ranks the way capable people do, taking on more responsibility, earning the trust of people who had the power to give trust. But there was always that thread being tugged. That quiet pulling sensation like something far away was calling to him, something he couldn't quite name yet. He felt it in the moments between meetings, in the silence of his apartment late at night, in the small restless feeling that would rise up sometimes when he looked out the window at the city lights and wondered if this was really it, if this was really all there was going to be. It's okay if you're feeling drowsy now. It's okay if the details of offices and numbers are fading into something soft and indistinct like lights seen through fog. You don't need to hold on to them. They are just part of the path, just stepping stones leading somewhere else. The important thing is the feeling underneath the sense of someone searching gently for something that fits better. Your breath is slow, your body is warm. Let your shoulders sink a little deeper into wherever they're resting. Let your hands go soft and still. The story will carry you. And then he noticed something. It was in the numbers, of course. It was always in the numbers for someone like Jeff. He was reading reports, studying trends, looking at the way certain things were growing and changing in the world. And one set of numbers caught his attention in a way that made him stop, made him look more closely, made that quiet part of his brain start turning like gears engaging. The internet was growing, not slowly, not steadily, but quickly. Very quickly. The kind of quickly that doesn't happen often, that signals something big, is shifting underneath the surface of ordinary life. More people were connecting their computers to this strange new network every day. More information was flowing through wires and cables, invisible rivers of data crossing oceans and continents in the time it takes to blink. Most people didn't notice yet. Most people were still living their lives the old way, buying things from stores, calling friends on telephones attached to walls, getting their news from papers that arrived on doorsteps in the early morning. The internet was a curiosity, a toy for enthusiasts and academics, something that existed on the edges of normal life. But the numbers told a different story. The numbers said this toy was becoming something else, something bigger, something that would eventually touch everything. Jeff felt that familiar feeling, that quiet click of pieces fitting together, that calm certainty that comes when you see something clearly, even if you can't explain it to anyone else yet. He didn't know exactly what he would do with this information, not at first. But he knew it mattered. He knew it was an invitation written in the language of growth curves and percentages asking him to pay attention. And so he paid attention. He started making lists in his mind, then on paper, then on his computer. What could you do with this new thing? What could you sell? What could you build? What could you offer to people who were slowly, cautiously beginning to explore this digital world? The ideas came one after another, some practical, some fanciful, some impossible. He wrote them all down. He turned them over like stones in his hands, feeling their weight, testing their edges. 20 things. Then fewer. Then fewer still. This is how it works sometimes when you're trying to find the right answer. You start with everything, with all the possibilities spread out before you like a meadow full of wildflowers, and then you begin to narrow. You ask questions. You eliminate. You follow the logic wherever it leads, trusting that it will take you somewhere worth going. Let us return to the garage now. Let us come back to our anchor place, that quiet space where the rain is still falling, and the lamp is still glowing, and the stacks of books are waiting patiently on every surface. The air has changed a little since we were last here. It's winter now, or nearly winter, and there's a fog outside the garage door, soft and gray, muffling the sounds of the neighborhood. The concrete floor feels cooler under the folding table. The warmth of the lamp seems more precious, more concentrated, a small sun in the quiet darkness. Jeff is here. He's sitting at the table, his hands resting on the keyboard, his eyes on the screen. The light from the monitor makes his face look pale and focused. There's a mug of something warm nearby, coffee maybe, or tea, and occasionally he wraps his hands around it, letting the heat seep into his fingers before he goes back to typing. He's thinking about categories. That's what he calls them in his mind. Categories of things that people might want to buy, things that could be listed on a website and shipped through the mail to addresses all over the country. He's been through the list so many times now that he knows it by heart. Music, videos, computer software, office supplies, clothing, and books. Always books sitting there on the list, patient and unassuming. Each category has its own problems, its own complications. Clothing is tricky because people want to try things on, want to feel the fabric and check the fit before they commit. Electronics change so quickly that anything you stock might be outdated before it sells. Music and videos have complicated arrangements with studios and labels, layers of permissions and agreements that would take years to untangle. But books are different. He reaches out and picks one up from the nearest stack, feeling its weight in his hand. The cover is smooth, slightly cool, with raised letters you can trace with your fingernail. He opens it, and the pages fan out, releasing that particular smell of paper and ink, that scent that readers know so well that carries memories of libraries and bookstores, and quiet afternoons spent lost in other worlds. There are so many books in the world. Millions of them, more than any single store could ever hold, more than any catalog could ever list. But a computer doesn't get tired. A website doesn't run out of shelf space. You could list every book ever published, every title from every publisher, and someone somewhere who had been searching for exactly that book could finally find it. And books are easy to pack. They're rectangular. They're sturdy. They fit into boxes without complaining. You don't have to worry about them breaking or spoiling or going out of style. A book published 50 years ago is still just as valuable as the day it was printed, maybe more so. They're patient books. They wait. Jeff sets the book down gently and looks around the garage. He looks at the cardboard boxes still flat against the wall. He looks at the tape dispenser, the labels, the scale. He imagines this space filled with activity books being selected and wrapped boxes being sealed and labeled packages being carried out to a car and driven to the post office. It's a small vision, a modest vision, but it feels right. It feels like the first step of something. Your pillow is holding your head so gently now. You can feel it cradling the weight of your thoughts, supporting you without effort. Your jaw can soften. Your tongue can rest. Your eyes behind their closed lids can stop searching for anything at all. It's okay if you drift away. It's okay if the garage becomes a dream, if Jeff and his books and his careful lists dissolve into something softer, something without edges. The story will be here. It will continue quiet and steady like rain on a roof, like breath moving in and out, like the turning of pages in an empty room. In the garage, the lamp glows on, and in the mind of a man who loves solving problems, a decision is forming. One category, one simple place to begin. Something loved by many people, something easy to ship, something that could travel across any distance and arrive intact, ready to be held and opened and read. Books. He will start with books. And everything else will follow slowly, gently, one small step at a time. But that is for later. For now there is only the rain and the lamp and the quiet satisfaction of knowing what comes next. Rest here. Rest here as long as you need. Books. The decision settled into place like a stone coming to rest at the bottom of a clear stream. It felt obvious now, the way good decisions often do once you've made them. All that thinking, all those lists and comparisons and careful weighing of options. And in the end, the answer had been sitting there quietly the whole time, waiting to be recognized. Books would be the beginning. Just books. Nothing more complicated than that. Millions of titles in the world, and all of them could be listed on a screen, organized and searchable, available to anyone with a computer and a connection to that strange new network that was growing larger every day. It was such a simple idea. Simple ideas often are the ones that work. And now there was the matter of a name. Jeff sat at the folding table in the garage, a notebook open in front of him, a pen in his hand. The computer glowed nearby, but for this kind of thinking, he preferred paper. There was something about the scratch of pen on page, the way letters formed under his fingers, that helped him think more clearly. The rain had stopped for now, but the air was still damp, still carrying that particular smell of wet earth and cedar that belonged to this corner of the world. He wrote down words. He crossed them out. He wrote more. He was looking for something that felt right, something that would tell people what this thing was, or at least hint at what it might become. The names came and went, some too plain, some too clever, some that meant nothing at all. He filled one page and turned to another, his handwriting growing looser as the night wore on. The lamp cast its warm circle on the paper. Outside, a car passed slowly down the street, its headlights sweeping briefly across the garage door before disappearing. The neighborhood was quiet, the world was asleep or nearly asleep, and here was one man with a pen and a notebook searching for the right combination of letters. You don't have to follow every detail of this search. You can let the image soften. Let it become just a feeling, the feeling of someone working late, someone turning an idea over and over until it begins to take shape. Your breath can slow. Your body can sink deeper into rest. The name will come. It always does. He thought about rivers. He thought about the largest river in the world, that vast ribbon of water cutting through green forests, carrying more water than any other river on earth. There was something about that image that appealed to him, the sense of abundance, of flow, of something that started small and grew until it touched everything. A river that began as a trickle somewhere high in the mountains and became eventually unstoppable. Amason. He wrote it down and looked at it. The letters sat there on the page, simple and strange, not quite a word you would expect for a company that sold things. But that was part of what he liked about it. It didn't sound like a store. It sounded like something else, something bigger, something that might become anything at all. And there was another small thing, a practical thing, the kind of detail that appealed to his methodical mind. Websites were often listed in alphabetical order in those early directories, those primitive maps of the digital world. A name that started with A would appear near the top, a small advantage, a tiny edge. But edges add up. Amason. He said it quietly to himself, testing how it felt in his mouth. Then he closed the notebook and turned back to the computer, ready to begin the next step. Let your jaw soften now. Let the muscles around your eyes relax, the tiny muscles you didn't even know were working. Your pillow is there beneath your head, steady and patient, holding you exactly as you need to be held. Your blanket is warm against your skin. You are safe here. You are resting. The website began as sketches on paper. This might surprise you if you think about websites as things that exist only on screens in the realm of code and electricity. But before any of that, before a single line of programming was written, there were drawings. Simple drawings made with pen or pencil showing how the pages might look, where the words would go, how a person might move from one place to another. Jeff drew boxes and lines. He drew rectangles that would become buttons, spaces that would hold descriptions areas where pictures of book covers might appear. It looked almost like a floor plan, like the blueprint of a house, each room serving a purpose, each doorway leading somewhere specific. The drawings were not beautiful. They didn't need to be beautiful. They just needed to be clear. From the drawings came the code. Others helped with this part, people who understood the language of computers in ways that Jeff was still learning. They sat together in the garage, sometimes late into the night, the glow of multiple screens casting overlapping shadows on the walls. They typed and tested and fixed mistakes, and typed again. The website grew slowly, like a plant pushing up through soil, one small piece at a time. It's okay if you don't understand how websites are made. It's okay if the technical details blur and fade, becoming just a gentle hum in the background of this story. What matters is the feeling of it, the patience, the repetition, the way small efforts accumulate into something larger. Type, test, fix. Type, test, fix. Over and over, night after night, until finally the thing begins to work. The first pages were so simple. A search box where you could type the name of a book you were looking for. A list of results plain and unadorned. A way to say yes, I want this one, please send it to me. A place to enter your address, your name, the information needed to turn a digital request into a physical package that would travel through the real world to your real door. And behind all of this, invisible to anyone looking at the screen, was a list of books. Thousands of them at first, then tens of thousands, then more. Each one entered carefully, its title and author and description typed into the system, becoming part of a catalog that grew larger every day. It was tedious work, the kind of work that requires patience rather than brilliance, the willingness to do the same thing over and over until it is done. Let us return to the garage. The season has shifted again. It's late spring now, and the rain falls more softly, warmer than before. The air through the gap beneath the garage door carries the smell of new leaves and damp grass. The lamp still glows on the folding table, but the evenings are longer now, and sometimes there's still a little daylight left when the work begins. The books have multiplied. They cover every surface, organized into careful categories that only Jeff fully understands. Publishers have begun to send them sample copies and catalogs boxes that arrive on the doorstep with satisfying regularity. Each new arrival means more titles, to enter more descriptions, to write more pieces of the puzzle clicking into place. And then one evening something happens. It arrives as a sound, a small chime from the computer, a notification that means something new has come through the wires. Jeff looks up from the book he was cataloging, his attention shifting to the screen. His fingers find the keyboard, and he navigates to the place where orders appear, the digital inbox where requests from the outside world collect like letters in a mailbox. There's one message. One order. Someone somewhere has found the website. Someone has searched for a book, has chosen, it has entered their information, and clicked the button that says, yes, send this to me. The details glow softly on the screen, a title, an author, a name, an address in a state far away, a place Jeff has never been. This is the first one. The very first order from someone they don't know, a stranger, who found their way to this small digital storefront and decided to trust it with their money and their address and their hope that a book would actually arrive. It's a small moment, quiet and unremarkable in many ways. But it's also everything. It's proof that the idea works, that the system functions, that all those nights of typing and testing and fixing have built something real. Jeff stands up from the table. He moves to the shelves where the books are organized. running his finger along the spines until he finds the one he's looking for. He pulls it out carefully, feeling its weight in his hands. It's a paperback not too heavy with a cover that shows, well, it doesn't matter what it shows. What matters is the way he holds it, the way he looks at it, this object that is about to travel across the country to someone waiting. The cardboard box is flat against the wall. He takes one and folds it into shape, his hands learning the motions that will become so familiar. The way the flaps bend, the way the corners meet, the way the box becomes a container, ready to hold something precious. The cardboard is stiff beneath his fingers, slightly rough, the color of grocery bags and packing materials and practical things. He places the book inside. It fits neatly with room for padding for protection. He adds paper around it, cushioning it against the bumps and jostles of its journey. Then the packing tape, that satisfying ripping sound, as he pulls it across the dispenser, the way it seals the box with a firm final pressure. The address goes on a label written carefully in clear letters. The label goes on the box, and then the box is ready. It sits on the table under the lamp, ordinary and unremarkable, just cardboard and tape and paper. But inside is a book that someone wants, and tomorrow it will begin its journey through the world, handed from person to person, sorted and loaded and driven through streets and highways, until it arrives at a door where someone is waiting. Your body is so heavy now. Your breath moves in and out without any effort at all, like waves on a shore, like wind through leaves. You can feel your heartbeat, slow and steady, a rhythm that has been with you since before you were born. Your hands are soft and still. Your feet are warm. Everything is exactly as it should be. It's okay if you're drifting now. It's okay if the garage is becoming a dream, if the image of that first box is fading into something softer, something without edges. You don't have to stay awake. The story knows where it's going. It will carry you there, or it will let you rest, whichever you need more. That night, after the box was sealed and labeled, Jeff carried it out to his car. The rain was falling again, light and gentle, and he covered the box with his jacket as he walked, protecting it from the wet. He set it carefully on the passenger seat, this first small shipment, this proof that the idea could work. In the morning it would go to the post office, would begin its journey to that faraway address, would become the first of many. He stood in the driveway for a moment, looking back at the garage. The lamp was still on, glowing through the small window, a warm spot in the gray evening. He thought about all the orders that might come after this one, all the boxes that might be packed and sealed and sent out into the world. It was impossible to know how many there would be. Maybe just a few. Maybe none at all after this first one. Or maybe, but he didn't let himself think too far ahead. One box at a time. One order at a time. That was how things got built, wasn't it? Not in great leaps, but in small steps repeated over and over until they added up to something. Order, pack, send. Order, pack, send. A rhythm, a pattern, a gentle repetition that could carry you forward without exhausting you. The rain fell softly on his shoulders. The night was quiet and cool. And somewhere inside the garage, the computer waited for the next chime, the next small proof that someone out there was looking for a book and had found their way to this unlikely place. Order, pack, send. It could build something steady, this simple rhythm. It could build something that lasted. The days found their rhythm. It was a gentle rhythm, unhurried and steady, like the beating of a resting heart or the slow turning of seasons. Each morning began the same way, the walk from the house to the garage. The small click of the door latched the familiar smell of cardboard and paper, and the faint mustiness that old books carry with them. The computer hummed quietly on the folding table, already awake, already waiting. And each morning there were orders. Not many at first. Some days just one or two, some days a handful, some days none at all. But they came, these small messages from the outside world, each one representing a person somewhere who had found their way to the website and decided to trust it. Each one a name, an address, a book that someone wanted enough to ask for. Jeff would sit at the table and open the emails one by one. He read them slowly, carefully, the way you might read letters from faraway friends. The orders were simple, just titles and shipping addresses, just the basic information needed to send something through the mail. But behind each one, he knew, was a person. Someone sitting at their own computer, perhaps late at night, perhaps early in the morning, searching for a book they'd been wanting to read. Someone who had typed in their address and clicked a button and hoped that the book would actually arrive. It's a small thing, trust. But it matters. It matters to be the kind of place that keeps its promises, that sends what it says it will send, that treats each order as something worth doing carefully. And so each order was done carefully, one at a time, with attention and patience. Your breathing has found its own rhythm now. You don't have to think about it. Your body knows what to do. In and out, slow and easy, like waves on a distant shore. Your chest rises and falls without any effort at all. Your shoulders have softened. Your jaw has unclenched. You are resting, truly resting, and the story is here to keep you company. The process was always the same. First, the order would be printed on a small printer that sat beside the computer, its pages emerging with a gentle whirring sound. Jeff would take the paper in his hands, still warm from the machine, and read the title of the book that had been requested. Then he would stand and move to the shelves. The shelves had grown fuller over the weeks. Books lined them now in careful rows, organized by category, by author, by some system that made sense to the person who had arranged them. Running a finger along the spines was like reading a secret language, each title a small world waiting to be entered. The books stood patiently, leaning gently against one another, their pages full of words that someone somewhere was waiting to read. Finding the right book was its own small pleasure. There was something satisfying about the search, moving along the shelf eyes, scanning the titles, and then the moment of recognition when the right one appeared. Sometimes it was exactly where it was supposed to be. Sometimes it had migrated, slightly shifted by the addition of new arrivals or the removal of previous orders, but it was always there waiting to be found. He would pull the book from the shelf and hold it for a moment. Feel its weight in his hands. Note the cover, the thickness of the spine, the condition of the pages. Each book was different. Each one had its own character, and there was something respectful about taking a moment to acknowledge that before wrapping it up and sending it on its way. Then came the packing. The cardboard boxes lived in a stack against the wall, flat and patient, waiting to be given shape. Jeff would take one and fold it into form, his hands pressing along the creases, coaxing it into a container. The motion became familiar over time, almost automatic, the way the flaps interlocked, the way the bottom needed to be pressed firmly to hold, the way the finished box sat square and sturdy on the table. The book went inside, nested in paper, crinkled packing paper, soft and protective, wrapped around the book like a blanket around a sleeping child. Not too tight, not too loose. Just enough to keep it safe from the bumps and jostles of travel. The paper made a pleasant rustling sound as it was shaped into place, a sound like leaves stirring in a gentle wind. Then the tape. That satisfying ripping sound as it was pulled from the dispenser, that firm pressure as it was smoothed across the seams of the box. One strip along the bottom, one along the top, everything sealed and secure. The tape gun became an extension of his hand, so familiar that he hardly had to think about it anymore. And finally, the label. This was important, this small rectangle of paper with its carefully printed address. It was the instruction that would guide the package through all the hands it would pass, through the mail carrier, the sorting facility, the trucks and planes, and delivery routes that would carry it to its destination. The label went on straight and smooth, pressed firmly into place, readable and clear. The finished package joined the others, a small stack of outgoing boxes growing throughout the day. Each one representing an order fulfilled a promise kept. There was something deeply satisfying about that stack. It was evidence. It was proof that the work meant something, that all the typing and organizing and careful packing added up to real books, reaching real people. Let your body sink a little deeper now. Feel how the bed or the couch or wherever you're resting is supporting you completely. You don't have to hold yourself up. You can let go of any remaining tension in your neck, your shoulders, your back. Let gravity do the work. Let yourself be held. The story continues softly around you. You can follow it if you like, or you can let it become just a gentle murmur, a background hum that keeps you company as you drift. Either way is fine. Either way is perfect. As the weeks passed, small improvements appeared. They came one at a time, quiet changes that made things work a little better, a little more smoothly. The website became clearer, easier to navigate, like a path through the woods that gets worn smoother by the passage of many feet. Buttons were moved to better places. Descriptions were rewritten to be more helpful. Small confusions were noticed and gently fixed. Customers sent messages sometimes, not complaints usually. Just questions, observations, small bits of feedback that arrived through the computer like notes slipped under a door. Someone couldn't find a particular book, and wondered if it might be added. Someone had trouble understanding how to complete their order. Someone just wanted to say thank you. The book had arrived safely. It was exactly what they'd been looking for. Jeff read each message carefully. He thought about what it meant, what it revealed about how people were using the site, where they were getting confused or delighted or lost. Each message was a tiny window into someone else's experience, and he learned to look through those windows with curiosity and attention. When the same question came up again and again, he knew something needed to be made clearer. When people expressed gratitude, he felt that quiet warmth of work well done. Reviews began to appear. This was a new feature, a simple addition that let people share their thoughts about the books they had purchased. Just a few sentences. Usually, this book was wonderful, this book was disappointing, this book changed the way I think about something. The reviews accumulated slowly, each one adding a small piece to the picture, helping future customers decide whether a particular book might be right for them. It was like a conversation, in a way. A slow conversation spread across time and space, people sharing their experiences with books they had read, helping others who might never meet them make better choices. There was something beautiful about that, something quietly communal. The website was becoming more than just a catalog. It was becoming a place where readers could connect, however briefly, through the books they loved. The garage felt different now. Not louder exactly, not more chaotic, but busier in that quiet way that comes from steady work rather than frantic activity. The shelves were fuller than they had ever been. Books arriving from publishers in regular shipments, boxes that needed to be unpacked and sorted and entered into the system. The stack of outgoing packages grew taller each day, sometimes requiring a second trip to the post office. But the lamplight was still steady. The rain still fell outside, some days heavy, some days light. All was present in that Seattle way that becomes part of the background of life. The computer still hummed on the folding table. The tape dispenser still made its satisfying ripping sound. The rhythm continued, order after order, book after book, package after package. There was something reassuring about the repetition, something calming about knowing exactly what to do and doing it well. The motions became almost meditative. Print the order, find the book wrap and pack tape and label add to the stack. Each cycle was complete, in itself a small task finished, a small promise kept. And then the next one began. Your pillow is so soft beneath your head. Your blanket is warm and heavy, pressing gently against your body, like a kind embrace. You can feel yourself sinking, settling, becoming part of the quiet stillness of the night. Your thoughts are slowing down, becoming softer, blurring at the edges, like watercolors left out in the rain. It's okay to drift. It's okay to let go. Sometimes late at night, after the day's orders had been packed, and the garage had been tidied, and the lamp had been turned down low, Jeff would sit at the computer and think. He would think about the system they had built, the careful process that turned digital requests into physical packages, the way information flowed from the customer's screen to the warehouse shelves, to the cardboard boxes, to the delivery trucks, to front doors all across the country. It was a system, a machine made of steps and procedures of habits and routines. And he would think quietly about what else might flow through such a system. Not right away, not soon, but someday. Because if the system could handle books with all their different sizes and subjects and publishers, couldn't it handle other things too? Things that were also rectangular, also sturdy, also easy to pack and ship? Things that people wanted but couldn't always find in their local stores? The thought would drift through his mind like a cloud across a night sky. Music, perhaps. Recordings on those small, compact discs that were becoming so popular. Each one a flat square that would fit perfectly in a padded envelope. Or movies, those rectangular boxes that lined the shelves of video stores. Each one a story waiting to be watched. Or computer programs, or games, or tools, or toys, or... But he didn't let himself think too far ahead. The books were enough for now. The books were more than enough. Each day brought new orders, new customers, new small proofs that the idea was working. There was so much still to learn, so much still to improve, so many ways to make the current system better before even thinking about expanding it, one thing at a time. That was the way forward. One careful step, then another. One category mastered, then perhaps another considered. The future would arrive when it was ready, and when it did the same patient work that had built this small book-selling operation, would build whatever came next. For now there was the garage. For now there was the rain and the lamp and the steady rhythm of orders arriving and packages departing. For now there was the quiet satisfaction of a job done well repeated day after day, building something brick by brick. And that was enough. That was more than enough. Rest now. Let the rhythm carry you. Order, pack, send. Order, pack, send. The same careful hands that wrapped books and paper could someday wrap other things too. But that is a story for another time, for another night, for whenever you're ready to hear it. For now, just rest. Workers walked the rows, their footsteps soft on concrete floors, their handheld devices beeping their small confirmations. Packages traveled along conveyor belts past sorting stations into the waiting trucks that would carry them to doorsteps everywhere. The air in these places was always the same temperature. Cool and clean, neither too warm nor too cold, designed for comfort and for the protection of the countless items that passed through. The lights were bright but not harsh, casting an even glow that made everything visible without straining the eyes. The sound was a constant, gentle backdrop. The hum of machinery, the soft thud of packages being placed, the distant rumble of trucks arriving and departing. There is something almost meditative about warehouse work. The repetition of it, the way the same actions are performed over and over in slightly different variations. Walk to the location, find the item, scan the barcode, hear the beep, Place the item in the bin, move to the next location. Each cycle is complete in itself, a small task finished, and then the next one begins. The mind can settle into this rhythm, can find a kind of peace in the predictability. And now let us return. Let us return to where we began, to that anchor place that has been waiting for us all along, the garage outside Seattle, with its concrete floor and its folding table and its stacks of books that have long since been dispersed to homes around the world. It is night there, as it always seems to be in our visits, and the rain is falling softly, tapping on the roof like fingertips drumming gently on a table. The lamp still glows. Perhaps it is not the same lamp anymore. Perhaps the original has been replaced, as all things eventually are. But the quality of the light is the same, that warm golden circle that makes everything within it feel safe and close and real. The light falls on a table, on a computer, on the simple tools of packing and shipping that started everything. The garage is empty now, of course. The business has grown far beyond what any garage could hold. But the feeling remains preserved somehow in the memory of what happened here, in the sense of possibility that still lingers in the air. This is where it began. This is where someone sat and typed and thought and dreamed, where the first orders were printed and the first books were wrapped and the first packages were carried out into the rainy night. Careful repetition built this. Patience built this. The willingness to do the same thing over and over, to improve slowly, to trust that small efforts accumulate into something larger. The rain and the lamp and the quiet work, these were the foundation. Everything else grew from here. Your breath is slow and deep now. Your body is completely at rest, held gently by the bed, by the pillow, by the soft weight of your blanket. You have traveled far tonight through years and seasons and spaces, and now you are here in this quiet moment with nothing left to do. The systems continue without you. Somewhere right now, a package is being prepared for someone who is waiting for it. Someone's hands are placing an item into a box, smoothing tape across the seams, pressing a label into place. The work goes on, steady and patient, the same work that began in a garage on a rainy night so many years ago. And you can rest. You can let the story fade into the softness of sleep, knowing that it will be here if you want to return to it. The rain will still be falling. The lamp will still be glowing. The quiet rhythm will still be continuing, one box at a time, one order at a time, building something steady out of nothing more than patience and care. Rest now. Rest and let the night hold you. Nothing grows without challenges. This is simply how things work, how they have always worked, like a plant pushing through soil or a river finding its way around stones. The company that had begun in a garage grew and grew, and with that growth came the natural difficulties of becoming larger, of learning how to be something new while staying true to what had worked before. There were busy seasons, times when orders arrived faster than anyone had expected, when the warehouses hummed with extra activity and the workers moved more quickly through the aisles. The holidays were like this, those weeks when everyone seemed to be thinking of gifts, of packages, to send to loved ones far away. The volume would surge like a wave, rising and rising, and the whole system would stretch to accommodate it. Sometimes things went wrong. A package would go to the wrong address, or arrive later than promised, or contain something different from what was ordered. These mistakes were small, individually just tiny errors in a vast ocean of successful deliveries. But each one mattered to the person who experienced it, and so each one was taken seriously, examined, carefully corrected with patience and apology. This is not a story about problems. It's okay if you don't want to think about difficulties right now. The challenges were real, but they were also manageable, the kind of problems that could be solved with attention and effort and time. They were growing pains, nothing more than natural stretching that happens when something small becomes something larger, and they were always met with the same approach. Look at what happened. Understand why it happened. Make a small change so it doesn't happen again. Then move forward a little wiser, a little better prepared for next time. This was the pattern repeated over and over, each difficulty becoming a lesson. Each lesson making the whole system a little stronger. Your body is so heavy now. You can feel yourself sinking deeper into rest your muscles, releasing tension you didn't even know you were holding. Your blanket is warm against your skin, a gentle weight that anchors you to this quiet moment. Your pillow supports your head, perfectly cradling the weight of all your thoughts so you don't have to carry them yourself. Let your breathing slow even more. Let each exhale carry away anything you don't need: worries, plans, the busy noise of the day. You are safe here. You are resting. The story will continue soft and steady, asking nothing of you but your presence. There were guiding ideas, not grand philosophies or complicated theories, but simple principles that shaped the way decisions were made. The most important one was perhaps the simplest. Think about the person who will receive the package. What do they need? What would make their experience easier, smoother, more satisfying? Every choice, from the design of the website to the layout of the warehouse, came back to this question. Steady improvement was another idea that mattered. Not dramatic transformation, not sudden reinvention, but the slow and patient work of making things a little better each day. A process that took 10 steps might be refined to take 9. A page that confused some visitors might be rewritten to be clearer. A packing method that sometimes led to damaged items might be adjusted, tested, improved. None of these changes were revolutionary by themselves, but they accumulated layer upon layer until the whole system was noticeably better than it had been before. Small refinements over time. This was the philosophy, if you could call it that. The belief that excellence wasn't achieved through brilliant strokes of genius, but through countless small acts of attention, fixing what was broken, smoothing what was rough, clarifying what was confusing. Again and again, day after day, until the work became something to be quietly proud of. In offices across the country, people gathered in quiet rooms. The rooms had whiteboards on the walls covered with diagrams and lists, and the kind of shorthand that makes sense only to the people who wrote it. The same motions that began in that garage, repeated millions of times, over connecting the past to the present in an unbroken chain of small, careful acts. The outside world is noisy, but here in this anchor mood, everything stays soft and steady. The rain falls, the light glows, the work continues. And you are held in this quietness, this gentleness, this space where nothing is urgent and everything is calm. Rest here for a moment. Feel how the story has become a kind of shelter, a place to be when the world feels like too much. You don't have to go anywhere or do anything. You can simply stay here, wrapped in the softness of these words, held by the rhythm of rain and light and patient repetition. Your blanket is warm. Your pillow is soft. The night continues around you deep and quiet, full of rest and peace. And the story goes on gentle and unhurried for as long as you want it to. Connected by the same systems, the same careful work, the same patient building that started in a garage on a rainy night so many years ago. The thread runs from there to here, from then to now, invisible but unbroken. Now the night deepens. The houses with their delivered packages grow dark windows, becoming black rectangles against the blue dark sky. The readers set down their screens and close their eyes. Listeners surrender to sleep. One by one, the lights go out across neighborhoods and cities across the country and the world, until only the street lights remain casting their quiet glow on empty sidewalks. Far away, or maybe not so far, warehouses continue their work. The night shift moves through the aisles, footsteps soft on concrete handheld devices, beeping their gentle confirmations. Packages travel along conveyor belts, emerging prepared and labeled, ready for the trucks that will carry them out into the morning. The work doesn't stop, but it feels different at night, slower, quieter, more like a river flowing in the dark than a busy road in daylight. And somewhere in the distance there are lights, tiny points of brightness scattered across the darkness. Each one a window in a warehouse or an office, each one representing someone awake while others sleep, keeping the systems running, making sure that tomorrow's packages will be ready when tomorrow comes. The lights look like stars from far away, small and steady, constant in the darkness. Let the image soften now. Let those distant lights blur and fade, becoming just a feeling, a sense of something continuing quietly while you rest. You don't need to see them clearly. You don't need to know where they are or who is there. They are simply part of the world, the working world that goes on even when we're not watching. And now return with me to the anchor place, to the garage outside Seattle, that small space where everything began. It is night there as it always is when we visit, and the rain is falling. Listen. The soft tapping on the roof, the gentle patter that has been with us from the start. The sound is so familiar now, so expected, that it feels like coming home. The lamp glows on the folding table. Its warm light falls on the empty space, on the memory of books and boxes and tape dispensers, on the ghost of all those early nights when the future was uncertain and every order felt like a small miracle. The light is golden and soft, the same quality it has always had, unchanged by time, unchanged by growth, unchanged by all the miles and years between then and now. The air is cool near the garage door. You can almost feel it, that slight chill where the outside world meets the inside warmth. And near the lamp, near the glowing computer screen that lives now only in memory, there is warmth. That small circle of heat and light where the work happened, where the first packages were prepared, where patience and attention built something that would eventually touch millions of lives. This is the anchor. This is the place we return to again and again whenever we need to feel grounded, whenever the story has traveled too far and needs to come home. The rain, the lamp, the quiet work. These things remain even as everything else changes. Rest here now. Rest in the warm glow of the lamp, in the gentle sound of rain, in the feeling of something built carefully, one small piece at a time. Let your body be heavy and still. Let your mind be soft and quiet. Let the night hold you as gently as this story has held you. You are safe. You are resting. And the rain continues to fall patient and soft, asking nothing of you but your peace. The story settles like sediment, drifting to the bottom of a still pond. We have traveled together through time, through seasons and years, through small beginnings and quiet growth. We started in a garage on a rainy night, where books waited in stacks, and a lamp cast its warm circle of light on a folding table. We watched as the first orders arrived, as the first packages were wrapped and taped and carried out into the wet evening air. We saw the rhythm take shape. Order pack send. Order pack send. The same careful motions repeated again and again, each one a small act of attention, each one a promise kept. We watched as the work outgrew the garage, moving to offices and warehouses, to spaces with long aisles and steady lights, where the same patient work continued on a larger scale. We saw systems built quietly in the background. Invisible networks holding information, keeping track of countless small details so that people could focus on the work that mattered. We saw teams gathering in calm rooms, making plans, solving problems, improving things one small step at a time. And we arrived here in the present, where packages reach doorsteps and people find what they need, where readers settle into bed with soft glowing screens and listeners drift off to narrated stories. Small moments of quiet usefulness happening everywhere, connecting the past to the present in an unbroken chain. But now the story is complete. Now there is nothing left to tell, nothing more to follow or remember. The journey has reached its destination, and that destination is rest. You can let go of the names now. Let them fade, becoming softer, less distinct, like words written in sand that the tide is slowly erasing. The names don't matter anymore. They were just sounds, just shapes in the air, and now they can dissolve into something gentler, something without edges. Let go of the details, too. The warehouses, the offices, the conveyor belts and labels and careful systems. Let them blur and blend together, becoming just colors, just impressions, just the feeling of something working quietly without needing your attention. You don't have to hold on to any of it. You don't have to remember. Let the colors soften into sensations, the warm gold of lamplight becoming simply warmth, the gray of rain becoming simply sound, the brown of cardboard becoming simply texture, then fading altogether, leaving nothing but the feeling of rest, of stillness, of a body that has finally stopped moving. Bring your attention now to your feet. Feel them wherever they are, however they're resting. They have carried you through so many days, so many steps, and now they can be completely still. Let any remaining tension drain away, flowing out through your toes, dissolving into the bed beneath you. Your feet are heavy and warm and still. Feel your legs, your calves, your thighs, the muscles that work so hard without you ever thinking about them. They can release now. They can let go of everything they've been holding. Feel them sink deeper into rest, becoming heavier, softer, melting into the surface that supports you. Your hips settle. Your lower back releases. Your stomach rises and falls with each slow breath, soft and easy, no effort at all. Just the gentle rhythm of air moving in and out like waves on a shore that has always been there, will always be there, steady and patient and endless. Your chest is calm. Your heart beats slowly, that quiet drum that has been with you since before you were born, faithful and constant, asking nothing of you. Feel each beat as a small gift, a small reminder that you are alive, that you are here, that everything is working exactly as it should. Your shoulders have melted into your pillow. All the weight you've been carrying, all the tension you've been holding, it's gone now. Released. Dissolved. Your arms are heavy at your sides, your hands soft and open, your fingers curled gently like sleeping children. Your neck is supported. Your jaw is loose. Your tongue rests quietly in your mouth, no words left to form, no sounds left to make. Your lips are soft. Your cheeks are relaxed. The tiny muscles around your eyes have stopped their endless work of watching and focusing and searching. Your eyes are closed. Behind your eyelids there is only soft darkness, comfortable and complete. You don't need to see anything. There is nothing left to look at. Just darkness and breath and the sound of rain. Return now one last time to the anchor place. The garage is quiet. The night is deep. Rain falls softly on the roof. That gentle tapping you know so well, that rhythm that has carried you through this whole long story. The lamp glows on the table, warm and golden, casting its small circle of light in the darkness. On the table there is one last box. It sits there, neatly taped, label in place, ready to go out into the world. But there is no hurry. There is no urgency. The box can wait, Everything can wait. The only thing that matters now is rest. The room is safe. The room is warm. The rain continues to fall soft and steady, asking nothing of you. Let the image fade now. Let the garage dissolve into darkness, into the soft nothing behind your closed eyes. Let the lamp dim and disappear. Let the rain become just a sound, and then let the sound become just a feeling, and then let the feeling become simply breath. In and out. Slow and easy. In and out. You are breathing. That is all you need to do. That is all you have ever needed to do. The story is over now. There is nothing more to follow, nothing more to hear. You can let these words fade away like the last light of evening, like the last drops of rain before the clouds clear. You can let go of everything, the garage, the books, the boxes, the years of patient work. None of it needs you anymore. It all continues without you, quiet and steady while you rest. You are safe. You are held. You are drifting now, drifting toward sleep, toward that soft place where thoughts dissolve and dreams begin. Rain on a roof, breath in your chest, warmth all around you. Rest now, just rest. Nothing left to do. Only sleep, only peace.